Hello friends, you're the Lonesome Gamer and I'm playing Waste Nights. So, during the first turn, the tracker, Hugh Jekyll, he managed actually to get some drugs to this industrial area so that the miners can work all day, and that gave him his first 2 fame points. Michael Payne and Geoffrey Goldrush, they managed to accept both a small favor, and if they fulfill that small favor, then they can then they will gain 1 fame point and a card. Guy Pearson wasn't so lucky. There was nothing left for him to do here, so all he could do is go to the pumps, and he managed to gain an assault rifle here. So he has a little better weaponry now. Okay, the overall goal is basically to accomplish or to gain at least 10 fame points, and then do 1 additional task, getting this this lady, the Black Widow, and bringing her then here into this central town of Gangrene. So we follow here the turn sequence, advance round marker, and mark task cards. Okay, so obviously after the first round we are now in the second round here. We have a maximum of 12 rounds, so this is going to be a pretty long game actually. Then we got to mark our task cards. So what we're going to do is we take these white markers and place 1 of them on each card. If we would have now placed a 3rd marker on a card, then this task would have been discarded, no matter if it would be here on this open task line or whatever, or if someone had it in his possession. If there is a 3rd marker, the task goes away. So there is a limited time to accomplish these tasks. Then we got to resolve the game board effects. So that means now these things here. So the samurai takes 1 radiation damage and 1 biohazard damage. So the biohazard is just 1 standard health that he loses, and the radiation is up here. So he is now here at a 1. And then it's the trader. He also takes these 2 type of damage. Oops. This is no damage. This just indicates that you can draw event cards there if you enter that space. And this guy is in a city, and that allows him to kind of recover. He can now choose if he wants to regain if he wants to lose some radiation damage, regain some health, or 1 health, 1 ammo, or 1 fuel. And that's what he takes. He simply takes 1 fuel. And that's it then. So these were the game board effects. Then it says remove long-term effects. So what that means is, in this case, we got to flip this card. This card indicates, or this marker indicates that you're not allowed to do an exploration action on that space. Now we're going to flip it to the black side, and in the next phase, in the next remove long-term effects step, this marker will be discarded completely, and then we can do exploration actions there again. Mission effects, nothing here. Update stalls. Well, now the waster could actually choose two items here and discard them, and then replace another one. And by the way, I forgot to place, this one should have been filled. So that is the Bible of the Waste, which goes here. The waster is going to discard that one, which is here completely useless, the smokes. It's a yellow card. Smokes are considered a red card if owned by a knight. That's kind of neat. You can buy that card for cheap and then trade it again as a red card. But the problem is, it comes here at this bad offer. So it's a yellow card where you have to buy the red price, and therefore it's completely useless. So we're going to discard this card. And we can choose a second one. Now I always have a problem choosing these things, so I'm simply going to roll a die and see what it is. Okay, it's going to be this one here, this Prepper's Kit. So let's refill that now. We have here now the red out. You don't have to refill that, but you can. And here we have now a hammer, which is a pretty good weapon, but it's really expensive for, it's this bad offer, this yellow card lying on this red dot. Okay, and then pass first player marker and waster marker. So now, first player marker goes to Michael Payne, and the waster marker goes to Guy Pearson. So then we come to the knight's step. Unmark cards and sheets. I think there's nothing to do. Prepare knight's gear cards. So now during this step, we can again change cards between the backpack and the pockets and so on. We got to plan a little bit what items we might need, and yeah, but I think I'm basically happy with what I've done here. Yeah, should be okay, I guess. Remember, you cannot change these things during the movement or event phase. And then we got to draw our luck cards. So each player gets to draw now one card, except the ones with the lucky charm. They can draw an additional luck card. Hand limit is 5. So one for this guy, 2 for that guy, he also has the lucky charm, so it's also 2 for him. And he also has the lucky charm. It's kind of weird in this specific game that we have 3 people having a lucky charm. Usually it's maybe only 1 or something. Fine. And that's then the end of the night step. So you can see you really got to go through all these steps. It's not that simple. There is a lot going on here. Now we come to the wasteland phase, and Now the first player, the samurai, he can now plan a route, and well, he wants to do this favor, so basically he wants to go to New Sydney, which is right around the corner here. So the only decision he has to make is to move either like that or like this. Obviously he's going to move through the desert because there's only one fuel needed. But even that would not make a big difference because he gains 4 movement points for a canister. It doesn't matter actually. So he moves here and then we'll enter here. And so that's the route planning step, and now he can move and he enters this space. And remember, the first time you enter a new space, the waster can draw an event card, and there is no other event card that will be drawn because we don't see a skull symbol here on any of these 2 hexes. So therefore, the only question is, do we want to play that card right now, or do we want to play it when the guy arrives in New Sydney? Remember, we have to play one single card. So that is the Digger 2.0. It says stop immediately before combat, your car suffers 1 damage. So it's definitely a good idea to play that card right away. Because if he sucks here, he has to stop in this area and he cannot resolve his task then. So again, we have to make a decision here. We can try to fight this guy. It's not such a bad enemy. The reward is kind of little, 1 green card, and in addition our car would take a damage, or our strider would take a damage. So I think that sucks. I think I don't want to face that enemy. I try to escape here. Problem is we only have a single repair value, only a repair value of 1. So that sucks. But we got the chili suit. Use after failing an escape check to repeat this check. So we can use that once per turn. And I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to escape here. Because that way I have a good chance that I'm allowed to move on. Well, I definitely will move on. The only question is, will I take a damage or do I have to stop? Now let's see. Yeah, that's a 0. Very good. That's a success. So no problems here. We can move on, and we made it to New Sydney. Okay, now it's the trader. And he's got to go to Alice Offsprings. That's a little further away, but it's also not exactly a big deal. On the other hand, entering this costs you 2 spaces alone, costs you 2 movement points alone, so well, basically you can now choose to move either that way or this way. Doesn't really matter. That way is not possible. That would have been the best route because there is no extra skull symbol here, but that would cost him 5 movement points. And by the way, I forgot to pay the fuel here, and I don't want to spend 2 fuel canisters. What I could do though is I could play That's My Hood During this move step, your waster does not draw any wasteland cards and cannot play any on you. Maybe that's a pretty good idea. In this way, there'll be no problems for me. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this card. And I only have a card limit of 5. I can draw 2 cards each turn. So it doesn't really make sense to hold on to these cards. Okay. So I simply can now move 4 spaces. And that's the end of this movement step. So then it's Guy Piercing, and I'm thinking about, what is that? Nice trophy. This task will be accomplished by the first knight to defeat any enemy from wasteland cards. Okay. So I'm thinking about moving into this space here to Alice Offsprings. Try to find that guy, dueling with him and steal his task. Because right now there's not much else I can do. There are no private tasks available. This might be played on me during the travel step. So there is no obvious destiny right now. So I think I'm in a little better shape. I got 4 health. I got a pretty good weapon here. This guy has only 3 health. Well, he also has quite a good weapon actually. And he's got he's got these AP rounds. Kind of sucks. I mean, I got this hard as a rock, and I got that twice. That gives me 2 additional armor. So that's not bad. I don't know what he has, so I think I'm gonna go for this. I mean, I already didn't achieve a lot in the first turn, so I think I wanna do some damage now in the second turn. The only question is which way to move, and I think I'm actually gonna move like this. 1, 2, 3. That would cost me 4. Oops. And I can pass this area here. There is no skull, so there is only one skull on my way. And it says during this move step you can perform 1 S from a hex through which you will move. That's the chop chop card. If this hex requires an exploration check, you must pass this check. This is not considered a normal exploration. So in this case I could move through this area here, and let's see if there is something of interest here. This is Koshuko's Readout. Draw 3 wasteland cards. Choose 1 and place it face down under the waster marker. Discard the other cards. In the next move step, instead of revealing wasteland cards from the deck, the waster must play 1 card placed under the waster marker. That's not such a great thing, I guess. But it's no... well, I would lose that card on the other hand. Well, the next move step would be against him. I don't know if that's such a terribly interesting option. I don't think so. So I'd go this way anyway, but I think I'm not going to play that card. So I enter now this space, and because I enter the first hex on my route, the waster can draw 1 card, and because there is a skull here, he can draw another card. Okay, so there we go. We see these 2 cards, Rough Terrain and a Stinker. Now let's see. Okay, that's an enemy. So that means that the waster has to play the enemy card. And we can now try to defeat this guy. It's not going to be easy. If you are wounded, this enemy attacks checks gain +2 dice. That sucks. But we got these hard as a rock things. So I think I'm going to try it. Maybe I can kill this guy. Okay, so we're going to see now our first combat, and combat in this game isn't very simple. Usually there are two aspects during combat. One is well, what you would usually expect. You shoot or fight each other in melee, and the guy who loses all his health points was defeated, obviously. There is another way to win combat in this game, and that is dominance. If after 3 combat rounds, and that's always the maximum of combat rounds that can be played, if after 3 combat rounds this dominance marker here shows on one side either the attacker or the defender, then even if no one is killed, the dominant player would win the battle. So that's an interesting option. If you have an aggressive fighting style or something like that, you can win the battle simply by showing that you're such a great guy, and the other one flees because he's so impressed. That's, I guess, the idea. But here's a special rule of the stinker. You can see this little blue sign here. That means he's ferocious. And if a monster is ferocious or an enemy is ferocious, this complete dominance part of the combat rules is ignored. So maybe that's not so bad for the beginning, for our first combat. So right now we will ignore this and just do a combat without these dominance rules. But that also means if we want to win that combat, we got to kill this guy. And there are going to be only 3 combat rounds, so we only have a limited time to do that. So what do we do? Well, oh shit, that was wrong. We have combat cards of 2 colors, red ones and blue ones. And it's basically the same written on these cards except for the colors here. We got 5 cards. We got an attack card. And with that, if you play that attack card, you can make an attack roll, obviously. We got a multi-attack card, and that is just a more a more heavy attack roll, but it will also cost you more ammo. We got a prepare action. That means you don't do basically anything in this specific combat round, but during your next round, if you play an attack, just the standard attack card, this will be much more promising because you gain additional dice and some other advantage. Then we got the defend card. You can that basically means that the opponent that the opponent has less attack dice against you, and you can rearrange your inventory, which can be very useful. For example, if you don't have any ammunition for a specific weapon left or something, then you can reload or things like that. And finally, we got here change range. We got the option to advance or retreat. We're going to see a little later how exactly that works with the range, but that is some additional option. Okay. Now each player or each combatant will get one set of combat cards. The waster plays the cards for the enemy, and, well, obviously the player plays his own cards. So range is an important factor during battle. The battle starts at short range, at medium range. So we have short range, medium range, long range. Let's place it the other way around, just a little easier for me that way. We start on the left with long range, medium, short. And we have this eye, and that eye indicates at what range we are right now. Okay. That card would allow us to set the range of the first clash, which could be an advantage, but in this case I'm happy to start at medium range. Why is that? Well, I got here my assault rifle, and that symbol here on the left indicates at which range I can use it, and that is medium range. You can see that here, there are two symbols here, medium range. That one is short range, and that one is long range. Here you have only short range and melee, that is in short range. And here in long range you can only use long range and medium range weapons. In addition, if you are in medium range, the player who plays the medium range weapon, or who uses the medium range weapon, gets initiative over the player who uses the short range weapon, and this guy would then get initiative over the player who uses a long range weapon. In addition, the player who would use a long range weapon in medium range would suffer one die penalty. So he can use one less die during his combat roll. Now, the initiative advantage simply means that you can roll first and apply the results of your combat roll, and then, if the other guy is still alive, he can do his combat roll. So that can be pretty important. If both players have the same initiative, then they will roll simultaneously, and the damage will be also dealt simultaneously. Okay, so let's see. Now this guy here, this symbol indicates he can only do melee damage, melee combat. So what does he want to do? Well, he wants to change range, obviously. There is no doubt about that. I mean, this is definitely something he wants to do. And what do I want to do? Well, I got to kill this guy as fast as possible. I got only 3 turns to kill him. 3 times that we will combat cards, that we will play combat cards, and that we will do attacks or whatever. I can do a multi-attack. I got a pretty good weapon to do this. The assault rifle allows me that. It has to be a weapon with these bullet symbols here. So that means the shotgun would not give me this multi-attack option. But the assault rifle does. So it's a tough one. The problem is I don't have the extra bullets in my pockets. So if I want to reload, I cannot do that right now. I have to go to my backpack to do this. So if I wanted to reload, I have to do a defend action to re-equip my stuff, and then I could reload. Problem is, if I would do 3 multi-attacks, if I wanted to do 3 multi-attacks during this combat, I can play 3 times a card. If I want to do 3 multi-attacks, that would take me a lot of ammo, because each multi-attack action costs me 2 ammo instead of 1, and I only have 4. So basically that means I can only do 2 multi-attacks, and then I'm out of ammo and I cannot do a 3rd attack. So I'm now actually thinking about doing first a multi-attack and then probably 2 standard attacks. But we'll see how the game goes, or how the combat goes. Okay, so I'm going to play this multi-attack right now. And this guy, he's going to play the change range cards. So change range says you can ignore the initiative. It's not of any importance. And it means your opponent's attack checks suffer 1 less die. After revealing this card, choose advance or retreat. In the next set range and end clash step, move the range marker to closer range if advancing, or to longer range if retreating. Okay, this guy wants to come into close combat with me. So you can imagine he's running toward me like, well, these type of mutants do. Therefore, he wants to advance, and at the beginning of the next turn will be then in short range. We're going to move that marker from here to there. Now in theory, I could also have played a change range card, and I could have now retreated. So then the medium range would have actually stayed, and well, there would be no effect basically. But in this way I could not win the combat, because I want to kill this guy, as we already said. So now let's see. I can do now an attack check. Make an attack check. This attack check gains +1 die, or plus the number of dice equal to the bullet icons of the weapon used. If you use a weapon different than a melee weapon, spend 2 ammo. Okay, so we use the assault rifle. That means we got to spend 2 ammo. And no, that's wrong. That's actually the health. It's not necessary to spend 2 health. We're going to spend 2 ammo. So we now only have 2 left. And then we can roll some dice. Now let's see. We got a guns ability of 3. So that's our base value. So we can roll 3 dice. Now in addition, this assault rifle would allow us, because of this multi-attack, to roll 3 additional dice. So we would be at 6 dice. But because this guy changes range. My attack check suffers 1, so I can roll 5 dice. What do I want to roll? Well, I want to roll a guns test, and I want to roll at least a 7. So let's see what we got. Okay, now that's a good roll. And I tell you why, it's not as simple as it might seem. We have now twice an 8 and a 0. We got a 2 and a 3. Okay, now these are obviously misses. But the thing is now, in general, this is a hit. So you're not rolling for, hey, these are misses and these are hits, but the whole test is a hit. Okay? So basically we would do now 1 single damage with this test. But because we got a 0, that means we do an additional damage. So it doesn't matter how many successes we roll, it only is necessary that we roll 1 success and then we count the number of zeros we rolled and add them to our single success. And if we only would have rolled a 0, then we would have done 2 damage because it's a success and it's 1 0, so we had 2 damage overall. Okay, so it's a little unusual to what we usually see. Basically, it was a success, and then we have a 0, and that gives us an additional hit. So we do 2 damage. Now this guy has no armor or whatever, so that means he will actually suffer 2 hits, and that is a promising start, I would say. We got these marker here, and well, not bad. So that's then, let's see, determine set range and end clash. Choose combat cards, resolve combat cards by initiative, that's what we've done. Set range and end clash. Remember, dominance is not important because this guy is ferocious. So now we are in short range. I'm not sure how much I like that, but that's what happened. Okay, so okay, now I'm not absolutely sure what to do actually. Well, there are a few options now. I could do 2 attacks now. We got 2 combat rounds left. I could do 2 attacks during these 2 combat rounds. If I do that, I gotta spend 2 ammo. Overall, that would allow me to roll 6 dice. Not that bad. We are now in close range, so that means I only need a 5 to be successful. So with 3 dice each turn, I'm pretty sure I can win that. But now I see the problem, and that sucks completely. This here doesn't work in close range. Wow. Now that is a problem. What about the PA shotgun? The PA shotgun works in close range. Okay, and it does an additional damage. So that's good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to defend because I want to change my weapon. Okay, so you see there is quite some tactics in the battles here, and I kind of like that. And you could imagine if you play against another person, it's even more interesting than playing against, than doing this solo. Okay, So I'm going to play this defend card, which would allow me to change my weapon, and in addition, the other guy has 2 less dice as an attack. And now it's the question what the other guy will play. Well, basically I would say he has 2 reasonable options. One is to do an attack, the other one is to do a prepare action and then go for a real bad attack at the very end. And now I'm going to roll a die, and on a 1 to 7, this guy is going to do just a standard attack because I think this is probably the best and the most likely. And on an 8 to 10, he's going to do a prepare action. So let's see. Okay, so he does just a usual attack. And before he does an attack now, I'm going to play hard as a rock. So during this clash, you gain 2 additional armor. Fine. Now, I played my defend card. That means I ignore initiative. I can play this card right away. And I can freely re-equip my gear cards. So I'm going to play this card now. And I'm going to place it... Hard to tell. Yeah, where do I want to place it? I'm going to... place it right there in my pocket. And now I got my shotgun. And I'm actually also thinking about taking my extra bullets and placing them here, also in my pocket. Okay. So that was my action, and now it's this guy. He has an attack. He can use 3 attack dice, but because I played the defend card, he could only use 1 attack die. Well, let's see. Basically, this is not too dangerous because I got this hard as a rock card here. Well, let's find out. Okay, that's a 4. So, although we were close and he only needed a 5, it's a miss. So, no success here, and, well, this hard as a rock card was kind of a waste now, it's gone. But anyway, I think it was a good idea to use it. Okay. So, and then the range stays the same. We're at the end of this clash, and we come now to our last and third clash, and our third and last clash. And now, obviously, I want to do my last attack, and this guy is also going to do an attack, because everything else would be pretty useless. I mean, on the other hand, you know, what he could do is... maybe that's not so stupid. He could actually try to run away, to change range, or to defend. And thereby preventing me from winning this combat. Because it's quite obvious that I'm in a very good shape now. I can attack first, because this short range weapon here can fire first, and then afterwards he can do the melee stab. And I got 3 dice with guns, and I only need a 5 to do a hit. And that hit would then, well, be another life point from him, and because of this symbol here that indicates that this weapon does an additional hit, I think we can be pretty sure that this guy would be killed. So therefore it might actually be a better idea for him to say, hey, I'm not going to do an attack, but I'm going to defend. So again, we're going to roll the die, and let's say on a 1 to 8 he will defend, and only on a 9 or 10 he's going to attack. Okay, so he's going to defend, and that means now that I have 2 less dice to attack with. So I got guns 3, and I wonder if there's anything I can play. Well, at least I got this Focus Man card, which would allow me to reroll the die. That's not bad. So, yeah, let's see. I'm going to roll this card. I'm going to roll the die. And that's a 7. So that's a success. We needed a 5. We made it. And that now means we got a success. The success does a damage. And because the shotgun, the PA shotgun, does another damage, we managed to kill this guy. And by the way, we had to spend another ammo. Okay, so yeah, I think that was actually a pretty good combat. And now we gain our reward. So first of all, as a reward, we would gain a yellow card, which is good. Now that sucks, I guess, because we already have the gunsmith's kit. What we can do though is we can at least use this for trade. So we're going to place that here in our backpack. Wasn't the best. But the cool part now is we managed to defend an enemy from wasteland cards. And therefore, we will gain 2 fame points. That's the yellow player. And a green card. Well, these are some extra bullets. That's always a good thing to have. And actually, this says discard at any time to gain +2 bullets. So I think I'm going to do this now. So now I have 3 bullets. And I'm fine with that. Okay. And then we're going to draw, the waster is now allowed to draw a new task card, and actually he can draw now 2 and decide which one he wants. So right now the waster is not him anymore because it's his turn, but it's the guy sitting opposite to him. So that would be in this case Michael Payne. He can now choose a task, and well, this one is also killing an enemy. Not sure that's such a great idea. I mean, she's not bad in fighting, but what about the other one? Oh wow, that's not the right one. That's actually a private task, so it's this one here. Hide the postman. This task will be accomplished by the first knight to move through 4 different hexes. City hexes. Okay. Now that could be a more interesting option, but the problem is in the next turn he's going to be the last guy. So it's also kind of unlikely that he will be the first one to do this, because everyone is going to move before him. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to play that Me Want Meat card. It says, Barrack hungry, Barrack like wombats and kiwi, Barrack eat quick, you bring Barrack plenty tucker, Barrack say everyone you big gun, you great hunter. What? No Barrack, no need RPG. Shoot no good. This task will be accomplished by the first knight to defeat any, well, I guess, beast enemy from wasteland cards. Wasters must play beast enemy cards if able. Okay. So that is placed now here. where the common tasks are. And the other one goes beneath the deck, so it's possible that the other one will show up again. And by the way, the resolve tasks, they are discarded, and that one should actually also go underneath, I think, yeah. So, and now this guy, he's actually allowed to move on. And, well, that's what he does. He moves now here. And now he actually still has the option, maybe, to attack the trader. It's not sure if I really want to do that, though. It's kind of tricky. I now have, on the other hand, I still have my complete... Well, maybe I should have... Maybe I should have rearranged my weapons in another way. I think I'm going to do that right now. I mean, I was allowed to do it earlier. On the other hand, I didn't know what I would have drawn, so it's okay. I let it this way. Shit. Now, I don't have to attack the trader, and maybe I'm not going to do it. It's kind of risky to do it. No, I think I won't. You know, it might just bring me problems, and I'm not that good. So I think... I mean, this guy with his Kanish, that's a really strong weapon. He's got a vest, which gives him an armor of 2, and I don't have that much ammo left. I have the assault rifle in my pocket, so maybe it would have been a better idea to keep the assault rifle in my hand, and then I might have had a chance. But then again, right now, you know, my situation has improved. I've now resolved my first mission, so therefore I think we don't have to risk too much during this step. Okay, now this guy is also in a situation which is not that perfect, because there is now no task left here, and therefore I think the only thing that would be reasonable is to move also to New Sydney and maybe attack Michael Payne. Good thing is, Michael Payne can only do damage in close range and in medium range. Yeah, medium range. Now with the sniper rifle, I can attack from a long range distance. And I got the deadly quick, which would allow me to set the range of the first clash. So I can start in long range distance right away, can use my sniper, and that's not bad. In addition, I got the click, which if your opponent attacked using a weapon with bullets, the attack is ignored. So if he uses the spitter here in a medium distance, I could actually play that card, and then it has no effect. So therefore, during the first 2 turns, I might be safe from him. So I think I'm actually going to try that. But we might also meet some enemies on the road. So let's see. I'm going to place 2 of these markers here. I'm going to move here and then here. And wow, we got to spend another point of fuel. So we're down at... By the way, this guy also had to spend fuel. I tend to forget that. So we're down at 2 with him, which, well, actually that's the wrong guy. No, she's at 3. This guy is at 2. Okay. But he might refuel in a city. There's a chance for that. Okay, now he starts moving. First hex, therefore we can draw a card. Because there are no skulls on the road, that will remain the only card. So what is that? The Order of the Flame. Okay. During this combat, you choose your combat cards first and play them face up. That's a problem. The other guy then might react to that. Comes with a pretty high reward. But well, I'm really not sure if I want to do that. I don't have such a fantastic weapon. These guys have an armor of 1, 4 life points. I think I better avoid that combat. I got a medicine of 3. That's pretty good. So I only have to do a medium check. I need a 7 to make that to make a successful escape check here. Problem is, this thing has a star and this fame and a red card as a reward. And remember, one of both would be actually enough to make me lose 2 health if I screw up the escape test. But I'm gonna try it anyway. I think that's worth it. So we can roll 3 dice and let's hope for the best here. And we made it. Twice actually. So we were successful. We can ignore the card. And then we can enter New Sydney. And I still want to fight the samurai to gain his task. So what I want to do is, first I got to find him. That's not so easy. We need to do a survival check, a medium survival check, but with 4 dice shouldn't be such a big deal. So we need a 7. And we didn't. Look at that. We only rolled a 6, no 7, so we simply didn't manage to find that guy. It was a search check and we rolled for survival. Yeah, wow, that's kind of odd. So we didn't find him, and therefore we will see no interaction, no duels here in New Sydney. Okay, now we come to the exploration phase, and we start with the first player, which is our ninja, Michael Payne. So, let's see, we got here New Sydney. So first we're going to explore the city, and that means that explore New Sydney, you accomplish this task. So as a reward, we gain 1 fame. That's not too impressive, but it's only a small favor. And in addition, we get a green card. Well, a few bullets, extra bullets. Always good to have them. I'm going to place them here in the Strider, I guess. I don't want to place them in my pockets. I want the Chili Suit, the Lucky Charm, and the Medishot in my pockets. So therefore, they go into the Strider. And now, the Waster during this turn, which is now him, he's now allowed to draw 2 cards and to choose the next private task. So we got here treasure map, explore gangrene, which is right here. And then you go to Cerberus Tower, which is right next to it. And the other one would be of mutants and men, explore Carcassville, which is up there. That's also an option. And then explore the Red Tomb. So here's the thing. Here he has to do a survival check when exploring the first area. He has a survival value of 2. Okay. And here he could choose between blades or guns. And he has guns 3. So I think he's going to choose that of mutants and man task. Our scientists need samples. No, not like soil samples. We prefer samples of stably mutated tissue of living organisms. Okay, hold on there. They don't have to be that alive. Okay, so we're going to place that card here. And we're going to try to do that. The other one then is placed again underneath. And then Michael can do another action in New Sydney. So you could trade additional New Sydney gear card from the stores available here. That is that card here, and that's a pretty good one because it's a valuable card which is pretty cheap. Well, not too cheap, but I mean it goes under value, you know. You could also replenish fuel and life points and radiation and well, basically everything for paying 1 card. Now that might be really an option for him because he has already lost 1 he's already lost 1 health. He's at 1 radiation, and he has also lost 1 fuel. So that could be an interesting option. I mean, he could also trade that boomerang for another yellow card. And he can only do 1 of these things. So let's see what yellow cards or what interesting cards are available here. So he already has a machete, he already has the chili suit. Well, we could use the submachine gun here. Is it good? I think it's not as good as the spitter. Oh, it's not as good as the spitter. And so we don't want that. Now, what about the hammer? Well, the hammer is not available because it would cost a red. Well, it is available, but it would cost too much. We don't have a red card. We could give away 3 green cards and a yellow one, and then we would gain the hammer. But that's too expensive. Same for the auto shotgun, but we could gain this thing. Now let's see what that is. Discard any time to draw 3 luck cards. Until the end of this round, your luck hand is unlimited, limit 1 per night. I don't think I want to do that. Simply because I already have my lucky charm, which allows me to draw each round 2 cards. So usually I won't go short of luck cards. I think I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to discard a card. Not absolutely sure if it's going to be the boomerang. I think not the boomerang, because if I'm out of ammo, the boomerang can be pretty useful. There is no ammunition required, and it only requires 1 hand. But then again, it only works in close distance. Oh boy. And for the close distance, I already have my machete. So therefore, I'm pretty sure I won't need the boomerang. Okay. So I'm going to throw away the boomerang, discard it, But that's my yellow card. That's a yellow card. I could trade for that for something better in the future. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw away the red out instead. That's a green card. And then I can actually completely refill everything. So that means I'm back at full health, 0 radiation, and I've got a fuel tank. Okay, cool. And in addition, I think I could actually trade. No, trading happens later with the knights. So then it's this guy here, Joffrey Goldrush, and he now explores Alice Offsprings, and that means he has accomplished this task. Gives him a fame and a green card. So that brings him here. And that's a canister. That's not bad. Now this one is discarded. We can draw 2 new cards. And again, this guy can't choose. He's the waster. He can choose what we want here. The Varata Industries, discard any gear there, take this card. The League Carnage, Chemical Sisters. Hard to tell. They're both not that terribly good for him. So I think he's gonna go. Yeah, I think he's gonna take the League Carnage. I think the reward for that isn't that great, and it's hard to tell. But okay. We're gonna go for the other task anyway, for this of mutants and men. So therefore, yeah, I think it's fine. Okay. And then the trader can do an action in Alice Offsprings. So he could trade, but not any cards with this pharmaceutic or medicine symbol here. He could refill either armor and fuel or health and radiation, but that will cost him 2 cards. Now that's pretty painful. Or he could throw away a red card, gain 1 fame, and he doesn't have a red card. So I think he might actually trade something here. He's good in trading, and if he trades and receives a card, then he can draw another card from the green card deck. So we actually do have a yellow card here, so we might choose to draw or to trade that into another yellow card. Now, it's interesting, you know, I'm not terribly good in fighting. So I really wonder if I should trade away this yellow card, these rounds, for a chili suit, which would allow me to repeat a failed escape check. That looks like an interesting option to me, actually. Gaining another weapon, I don't know. I think that's not necessary. The Carnage is a good weapon, so I think I'm going to do that. I'm gonna discard these. And instead take here the chili suit. And I'm going to place that right here. And then I gain another green card. Now this is surgical instruments. Your medicine checks gain +1 die. Well, honestly right now I don't have any space for that. So I'm going to place this stuff here on my Strider. And anything else I want to do? I don't think so actually. Oh, I'm happy. So it's sky piercing. And wait a minute, we got to refill this space here. That's a sniper rifle, not bad. So it's sky piercing, and he's now also an Alice Offspring. He could trade there, or well, he's got that gunsmith's kit, which he doesn't need because he already has one. So he might actually trade that against something else. Question is, what do we want? This shotgun is pretty good. Do we want a sniper rifle instead? I don't know. Oops. What is it with this sniper rifle? After you play the prepare combat card, your next attack check additionally gains 1 die. We can do a long range. Well, it's not a bad weapon. That's for sure. That's not a bad weapon. It seems to be better than the one I have right now. Tempting. The other option would be... wait a minute. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give away my 2 yellow cards. The assault rifle and the gunsmith's kit. Instead, I'm going to take the red card here, which is the auto shotgun. Well, the auto shotgun is pretty similar to the sniper rifle, but it does an additional damage. It has 1 less of these bullet markers. So in this massive attacks, it's not quite as good. But you know, I already got 3 dice, and I think overall that's a little better. And I think it's also better than the sniper, because this can be used in close combat too, while the sniper can't be used in close combat. It is a little bit, you know, I mean, I'm not absolutely sure. It's not a completely overwhelming weapon, but I think it is better than what I got. So therefore, I'm going to make that deal. Now, let's see what comes up next. A katana. Not bad. That's pretty good for close combat guys. For example, for him. Yeah, he definitely wants that. Okay. Yeah, that's the end of his trading action. And finally, it's this guy here. He's in here, so you can also trade. Okay. Anything special? Yeah, they can now trade this one here, but that's not so cool. Does he want to trade? Hard to tell. I mean, he doesn't have any valuable items. He might actually hold on to the canister because he only has 2 fuel left. So maybe the extra bullets are an option. I wonder What about this one? No, that's only available in the pumps. No, I think he doesn't have any interesting things to trade, and yeah, so he's gonna do nothing in there. New Sydney. Okay. That's the end of the exploration step. So now we can trade between knights. So let's see if something interesting will happen. We got these two guys here, but yeah, I mean, you know, they don't have much to offer each other. And the other guys, well, no, I don't think so. I don't think that will happen. Is there anything especially he's interested in? Fuel or something, but no. No trade between these guys. Now we can use our gear cards, and thinking about discarding that one. Regain my fuel, but then again I can regain a fuel anyway because I'm in a city and there is nothing else I can gain from that, so I think I won't do it. What about the other guys? Do they want to use their cards, or do they want to rearrange their cards? That's also an option they have now during the rest step. Well, I could now use my gunsmith's kit. During the rest step, choose a knight on your hex. This knight gains +1 ammo. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Obviously, gives me an additional ammo. I'm pretty sure the others are happy. They don't want to do anything here. Okay. So then we come to the quick resupply step. And, well, I think the only one who might want to do something is the trader. I think he's actually gonna discard this card here, heal a wound, and then during the preparation phase of the next turn, because he's in a city, he can recover from his radiation, and then he's at full values. What about him? He's fine. So I guess that's it too. Regain consciousness, that's not going to happen. So that's the end of the turn, and well. Okay, now you can see these turns. They are really long, you know, there's a lot going on during the turns, and the fighting takes a while. It's interesting, but it takes a little. And yes, if you handle really 4 people, a turn will easily take, I don't know, 45 minutes or something. Maybe half an hour if you do things off camera, but it takes a while. So I think I'm going to load this up now, and this might be a pretty long series. Oh, we're going to remove that, of course. So yeah, hope to see you on the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.